guys, Ken here from Ion Radio. Welcome back. Today marks the beginning of Monster Madness. That's right, we're going to put together 8 fleets that didn't make it into our standard Madness format and put them against each other in a robot versus robot type of scenario. You're going to see 2 of those fleets today, both of them rebels. Kyrsta Agate, brought to us by Pluisjen, and we have Surge to Crit, who brought together a General Rieekan list. Let's take a look at both of these fleets, get to the full action, and then once all that's wrapped up, we'll see how Ed does with the exact same fleets. This list is brought to you by Pluisjen. It is a Kyrsta Agate list. Kyrsta is on a Hammerhead torpedo corvette with external racks and the Task Force Organa title. There is a second Hammerhead torpedo corvette with Ezra Bridger and Task Force Organa. There are 2 Hammerhead torpedo corvettes, each with external racks and Task Force Organa, and 3 Hammerhead torpedo corvettes with just the Task Force Organa title. Coming in at 296 points, a list brought to you by Surge to Hit. This is a General Rieekan list. Rieekan is on an MC-75 ordnance cruiser with whale explosives, local fire control, flak guns, reactive gunnery, flechette torpedoes, and ordnance pods. There is an MC-30 torpedo frigate with Lando Calrissian, ordnance experts, advanced projectors, external racks, and XI-7 turbolasers. Rounding out the combat ships is a GR-75 medium transport flotilla with Comsnet. 4 squadrons, Shara Bay and Tico Selshu. Agate has won the bid at 294 points. General Rieekan gets to choose the different objectives. Here are the objectives in front of us. We have opening salvo, abandoned mining facility, and hyperspace migration. General Rieekan decides to choose hyperspace migration. Way too many points can be pulled by abandoned mining facility. Opening salvo, that's just going to be very easy to take one of our ships down. And then when we look at hyperspace migration, there is a possibility we can zoom in across the board and take out enough of the hammerheads and then start balancing out the points. So here we go. Taking a look at what we have for deployment. On the side of General Rieekan, as we can see here, the MC-75 is up in the corner. We have the GR-75 transport in the center, along with the 2 A-wings next to the MC-30. Everything is moving in at speed 2, with the exception of the MC-30 moving at speed 3. Kyrsta Agate has decided to put her 7 hammerheads more or less surrounding where the opening objective point is for all of the Purrgil. Hopefully this will start gaining a lot of points real quickly. In terms of speed, all cruisers are at speed 1. Turn 1, fairly uneventful. All that really happened, we have some movement with the MC-30 moving in at speed, the MC-75 and the GR-75 on General Rieekan's side, starting to move towards this mess of 7 hammerheads. Taking a look at the board, 5 hammerheads are collecting an objective token here on turn 1. You can see the Purrgil that has been deployed at distance 1 is incapable of really moving much further because of all the hammerheads blocking it. So this is how the robot chose to deploy, and we now have, I think, 3 of these ships at speed 0. Into turn 2, the MC-30's already moved forward enough, posing itself to strike on turn 3. Our first attack of the game is going to come from Hammerhead number 2, and he's attacking the MC-30 out the front. Because this is at medium range, we're limited to just the 2 dice, a red and a blue. Wind up doing only 2 damage. Portside shield is now down to 1 on that MC-30. Next shot, Hammerhead number 5 taking a close range shot out the side. 1 black die, can do another damage onto the rear after we redirect it from that MC-30. And as we can see, we're making some very close moves with the hammerheads. Nothing's being rammed, giving more opportunity for a couple other hammerheads to gain a few tokens. And at the end of round 2, we have 5 victory tokens totaling 100 points going towards Kyrsta Agate. Nothing for General Rieekan. Here in turn 3, we've got a little bit more action taking place. At the beginning of turn 3, we have another Purgle that shows up, hiding now behind the 2 Hammerheads, still at distance 1 of that starting objective token. This is going to be very difficult for General Rieekan to start collecting a lot of points. So instead, we are looking at massive destruction attempts on the Hammerheads from the MC30. First strike, we're moving against Hammerhead number 5. X-Rax will get used, a total of 5 damage coming in. That 5 damage winds up tearing out the rear and port shields, and there is 3 hull taken away, leaving it limping on 2. And that was the weak shot. The harder shot coming from the side of that MC30, once again into that same side of the Hammerhead, winds up doing a total of 6 damage, pulling a structural damage card as a crit, completely destroying 1 of the 7 Hammerheads. After moving, the MC30 will displace Shara and Tico, but that shouldn't be a problem. A-Wings can move just about anywhere they want on the playing surface. Hammerhead number 2 begins its attack and assault on the MC30, firing from the front into the rear at close range. Totaling up amount of 4 damage after using X-Rax, reducing shields on the front and starboard side of the MC30 to 1 apiece. MC75 moves in, narrowly avoiding the 1 Hammerhead and keeping itself into position to start collecting a few tokens itself. Hammerhead number 1 activates, leveraging Ezra, pulling the Purgle away from the MC75, depriving it of a token for this round. Making an assault onto the MC30, doing 1 damage again into the side. It's redirected to the rear, dropping that rear shield. These Hammerheads are relentless, firing again and concentrating all their fire into the MC30. Another single point of damage coming out the side with these black dice. The starboard shields are now down to 0. Even with the X-Rax, the MC30 is able to leverage its tokens to keep the damage to a minimum. From the opposite side, Hammerhead number 6 fires from its side into the port side of the MC30, doing yet another single point of damage, reducing that shield also to 0. Taking a look at the overhead of the battle. As you can see, 2 of the Hammerheads are starting to disengage, 4 of them hanging around with the Purgles, and you have the MC75 and MC30 poised to strike yet again in turn 4. Turn 4, back to attacks, the MC30 making the first activation of the turn, firing at Hammerhead number 3, doing a bunch of damage, 6 in total, taking out the port shield and destroying it while it holds an objective token. Its next shot, close range, firing out the front at Hammerhead number 1. 3 damage done, reducing the port shield to nothing, and once again doing 2 damage to the hull. MC30 decides to make its routine to figure out where it's going to land, intentionally ramming Hammerhead number 1. Hammerhead 2 activates first for Kyrsta Agate, doing 3 damage out the front at the MC30, and even after a reroll from Lando Calrissian, destroys the MC30. Flacking out the side towards the A-Wings, unfortunately not much damage at all. It's either 0 or a scatter. For movement, it's able to get just in front of the MC75, hopefully trying to do some level of blocking against some of the other Hammerheads, at the same time looking to make an escape on a future turn. Speaking of the MC75, it is the next one to activate, firing again at Hammerhead number 1. Even after Task Force Organa is being used and exhausted, 5 damage goes through, taking it out in a blaze of glory. Out the side, going after Kyrsta Agate. only managing to stay at medium range. We are just out of close, not able to use those black dice. 1 damage is done on all 3 dice. For movement, the MC-75 rams into the second hammerhead. And finishing up the turn, Kyrsta Agate leverages Engineering Command to increase her forward shields back up to 2. Both Shara and Tico fire against Kyrsta Agate, only doing 1 damage on the forward shield. At the end of turn 4, 2 hammerheads firing off into the distance, safely away from the MC-75. Hammerhead number 2 is directly in front of it. That does not look to be long for this world, and Kyrsta Agate is stuck in the corner, needing a navigate command. Moving into turn 5, we see a slight difference of score here. There are 7 victory tokens for Kyrsta Agate and only 1 for General Rieekan. First shots are fired from the MC-75. Once again, out the side, firing into the front of Kyrsta Agate's ship. Kyrsta Agate is still at speed 0, and with 3 red dice, once again, only 2 damage. We do get a haul hit on Kyrsta Agate. So far, that's it. Need to get a little closer, or Kyrsta needs to move this turn if that MC-75 is going to actually be effective. Second shot is at close range right into the side of hammerhead number 2. With the full salvo of dice, and after all defense tokens are spent, 4 damage goes through, taking out the fore and port shields, doing 2 hull damage to the hammerhead. The MC-75 does move forward, ramming the hammerhead, doing another point of damage, bringing it down to 3. Kyrsta Agate activates next, showing an engineering. No movement at all this turn, but will flak out at Shara and at Tico. Both scatter away, no damage done. Moving along a little bit into the turn, the GR-75 winds up moving next to the MC-75, and we have the second hammerhead firing into the front of the MC-75. No damage is done at all. There is a salvo, however. That salvo does 2 more damage. It's moved to the rear. 4 hull hits total are what's done to the hammerhead, leaving it 1 hull to go. The other hammerheads slowly move themselves away, with the exception of hammerhead number 4. Has an engineering, takes it as a token, and winds up ramming hammerhead number 2, which almost fleed away from the MC-75, doing 1 damage to itself and destroying hammerhead number 2. At the end of the turn, Tico and Shara both fire at Kyrsta Agate. Sum total, 1 damage, bringing that 4 shield back down to 1 after the engineering token keeps getting used to bring it back up to 2. On to turn 6. Turn 6, the MC-75 will start with its first shot. First shot, once again, we're going to try and take out Kyrsta Agate. 3 red dice, no speed on Kyrsta at all, no defense tokens, 2 damage are rolled in. Once again, taking out the 4 shield, 2 hull damage on that ship. No other shots for the MC-75, so its final maneuver winds up putting it right on top of the Purgle, doing 2 damage. Portside shield goes down. In an effort to prevent itself from any future damage, the other hammerheads just move around, stay on the table, knowing that they've wound up winning the game. Kyrsta Agate does make an attempt to take out Shara and Tico. Everything is scattered, no additional damage is scored. So at the end of 6 rounds, there are 8 objective tokens taken for Kyrsta Agate, only 2 for General Rieekan. Let's get to the final fleet status and the final scores and see who may wind up going to the next round. Looking at the final scores, Kyrsta Agate winds up picking up 8 victory tokens to General Rieekan's 2 victory tokens. In terms of ships, Rieekan took out 159 points of hammerheads. Kyrsta Agate took 87 points of ships, It's the objective tokens that tell the story. Final score 247 to 199. A margin of victory of 48 points for Pluisjen's Kyrsta Agate fleet. Let's take a look at the second matchup. Once again, General Rieekan takes first to Kyrsta Agate as second player. Rieekan chooses Abandoned Mining Facility for this matchup. Start of round 1, Kyrsta Agate, her fleet mines the dust cloud, whereas Rieekan mines 2 ships and moves in, flanking with the MC-75. As you can see with the deployment setup, the MC-75 is on the left flank, looking to come in and try and hit those hammerheads nice and hard. All the hammerheads are in a tight formation, moving forward towards the station in the center. Round 2, we have hammerheads once again taking tokens, more points, and mining as much as possible. We're going to the absolute maximum here in terms of being able to take victory tokens without removing the dust clouds. That MC-75 is slowly but surely moving in for the kill. Round 3 is where the action begins. The transport winds up activating squadrons attacking hammerheads. After its activation, Lucky Shot with an accuracy winds up hitting and destroying that GR-75 transport. After the MC-75 moves in to start strafing all the hammerheads, the hammerhead with Ezra on board moves the station into a slightly different position, allowing the hammerheads to maximize usage and keep them alive. Few more movements, MC-80 with Lando Calrissian moves forward, trying to cut off Kyrsta Agate. As Agate attempts to flee the battle, she winds up running into the MC-30, doing a little bit of damage on both ships. Going into the 4th round, all hammerheads are still on the table. The MC-30 is right there next to 2 of them, looking to take some out. The MC-75 ready to play cleanup, with Shara and Tico also engaged in the battle. MC-75 activates first, doing significant damage, taking out the closest hammerhead. Kyrsta Agate, unable to do any significant damage to the MC-30 and moving too slow to move around it, doing yet another ram. MC-30's activation, first thing it does is take out Kyrsta Agate and flees a little bit more, trying to get around the backside of the hammerhead, staying out of the forward arcs. Round 5. Hammerheads are well aware if they stay where they're at, nothing good is going to come of it other than destroyed ships. All hammerheads looking to retreat into the corners. Round 6. They've pretty much successfully done this. Purgles have moved around. There's no additional opportunities for fire in this game. The only hope is the MC-75, which is able to successfully move fast enough at speed 3 to ram into that trailing hammerhead, doing its final point of damage to take that out as well. End of the game, 3 hammerheads have been taken down along with the MC-75. However, when you look at the final score, although Kyrsta Agate did wind up scoring 20 points of the GR-75, 190 points were scored in objective tokens, coming up to a total of 210. General Rieekan, on the other hand, destroys 135 points of hammerheads, scores enough objective points for an additional 70 victory points, bringing General Rieekan's score to 205. With a 5-point margin of victory, Kyrsta Agate wins yet again.
Alright, there we go. Both games have been completed, and as you can see, Kyrsta Agate and Pluisjen makes it into the next round. So congratulations are in order. Stay tuned next week where we can get the next matchup, which is going to be 2 Imperial fleets, Tupperbuzz and Skull, bringing in General Tag and Admiral Mahdi. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this kind of short format, leave some comments below. Otherwise, like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Check us out on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And until next time, thanks again for watching. I'm Ken, and this is Matt This on Ion Radio.